Good evening, and welcome to the February 27th, 2023 meeting of the Coeur d'Alene Parks and Recreation Commission. Melissa, would you get us started with the roll call, please?
Commissioner Cranston,
Here.
Commissioner McDowell, Commissioner Lean, Commissioner Tate,
Here.
Commissioner Hill,
Here.
Commissioner Bakes,
Here.
Commissioner Wood.
Here.
Thank you, Melissa. Commissioner Hill, would you please lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance tonight?
You bet. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, do any of the commissioners tonight have a conflict of interest with any of the agenda items? There are none. Brings us to our first action item is approval of the January 23rd, 2023 meeting minutes.
So move.
Okay.
Second.
Motion's been made by Commissioner Wood and seconded by Commissioner Tate to approve the January 23rd meeting minutes. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Minutes are approved. Okay, rolling right along. Bill, do you have a staff report for us tonight?
Yeah, I'd like to ask who of you decided that it should start snowing again? We were getting ready to do some groundwork, and we got a little bit into City Park and were able to get some of the leaves down, but that's in the cemetery, but that's about it. So, no, guys are out this morning early at 4 taking care of that white stuff, and
They do a great job. Yep.
and I think that we've got some more coming this week. On the recreation side, we'll finish up with parks. We had a couple of, I wouldn't say they're vacancies, they were applicants that we had for 2 positions that we created in our Parks Department. And we normally would get 30 or so, 40 applicants. We got a whopping 12. Out of the 12, we chose 4. Out of the 4, 3 showed up. In the middle of that, we had a vacancy in the cemetery. And so at the end of the day, we hired all 3 of them. And so we got Nicholas, Colin, and Tyler. And I don't know if anybody can boast that batting average that we just got, because most folks are having a hard time getting people. So we really appreciate that we got the trifecta there. Recreation stuff we're doing. Basketball, we just finished up our 3rd to 8th grade program, and now we're running our K to 1st and 2nd grade program with about 500 kids. Swim, we had another round of golf swim lesson registrations, and all 3 days were full after the first hour of signups. Over 200 kids every 6 weeks get trained in how to swim. And then new activities guide came out in the press. Commissioner Banks was asking me about that. We just had that in the press on the 18th. It's a once a year program that the press does for us, and shows all of our program description and registration dates. And we don't start registering until April, but we've been fielding a lot of inquiries about our pickleball program, and they've been working with us to give pickleball lessons over at Cherry Hill. I met with their board, the Pickleball Association board, just following up on our agreement we have with them about developing that parcel that's just to the south of Fire Station 3. They're still in fundraising mode. They're going to go out to get surveys here pretty soon. I have been in some discussions with Avista at that site. There used to be the climbing school right next to there. Their leadership is interested in talking to me about us possibly utilizing that space for some parking, possibly, but we're still in the early points of that discussion, but it looks hopeful that we can get a little bit of extra space for parking there. That's great. And with that, I'll stand for any questions.
Bill, with the numbers you're getting for our recreation programs, has there been enough space in the programs to accommodate everybody that's wanting to register and join?
I think we could get bigger, but we don't have the people or the facility. So we're full. We can do what we can. It would be nice at some point to own a facility of our own other than a pool. Those are very difficult to maintain and expensive. But yeah, we're keeping everybody as busy as we can and hopefully provide enough to the community. But, you know, we're growing, and I don't know if, well, back up a little bit on the swim stuff. I think I shared with you before, we were at a point where we almost were going to have to cut classes because we couldn't get the instructors. We raised the rate and we were able to get some other instructors. So I think we're around $18 an hour now. And that's one of the reasons you recall that we stopped doing open swim guards, because that's a whole different set of certifications. The indoor one is easier to obtain, but we couldn't get guards for the beach, and that's why we ultimately decided to not have it a guarded beach any longer.
Any other questions for Bill? Thank you, Bill. Do any of the commissioners have any comments or announcements? Okay. Then we'll move on to public comments. Is there anyone here wanting to address the commission here that are not here for one of the agenda items? Nope. Okay, information item, Bill, Fireboat Garage Dock Ordinance Amendment.
Right, so this is an existing amendment that we have in place already, but we're having a piece of that code that talks about the fireboat garage dock area. So no person shall moor a vessel at the fireboat garage dock located at 3rd Street at any time, because they're worried that people will start tying up to it, they need to get out and there'll be a vessel in the way. So we didn't have any ordinance in place to point to. We could say, please don't park here, but that doesn't carry much weight. So we want to put it into the code, and so it's just a small line that I just read that we're going to amend that, and it goes in to council and for the mayor's signature.
Okay. That was the only line item amendment of the
That's it.
whole ordinance.
Yep.
With the arrangement of the fireboat garage down there, the way that was designed, it didn't take away from any of the previous mooring dock parking, did it?
It impedes a little bit of our pump out station. It makes it a little more difficult to get to. And so what we're going to do when we get the grant, notice when I say when we get the grant, not if, when we get the grant and we rebuild those, we'll actually move that over to a different bay so it's easier accessible. And so because of that, we will lose one slip, but it'll be a slip for the pump out dock. Yeah.
Again, that'll just move directly then to council.
Yes.
Any questions on this item?
No.
Okay. All right. Next action item is Brooks Seaplane Agreement Renewal. I'll go ahead and read the staff report, and then Bill, anything you need to add to that, you can take it over. The decision point tonight is should the Parks and Recreation Commission recommend approval of this lease with Scenic Adventure Flights LLC doing business as Brooks Seaplane Service. Brooks Seaplane has been been leasing Bay 5 on the commercial dock and providing plane rides over our region for over 30 years and is a favorite attraction with our community and visitors alike. The leasee agrees to pay as rental for the right of such moorage space and the use of said portion of said dock for the first year of the lease. The sum of $7,099.08 payable on April 1st, 2023 as follows. $6,959.88 based on a monthly rental of $579.99 and $139.20, which is the 2% fee assessed by the Department of Lands as identified in Section 4 for the period of April 1st, 2003 through March 31st, 2024. Annual fee increases will be calculated based on the previous year's fee plus the Consumer Price Index Western for all urban consumers for the year prior to the lease year. The rent will be payable on or before the first day of April in each succeeding year of the lease. Brooks Seaplane has an existing lease in place through 2022. This new lease with Scenic Adventure Flights is a 5-year lease commencing on April 1st, 2023 and ending March 31st, 2028. The leasee may request in writing a 5-year extension of this agreement for the period from April 21st, 2028 to March 31st, 2033 by submitting to the lessor a written request for extension after April 1st, 2027 and prior to September 2027. Again, the decision point of recommendation tonight, the Parks and Recreation Commission recommends approval of this lease with Scenic Adventure Flights LLC, doing business as Brooks Seaplane Service. That staff report was a bit of a tongue twister, Bill.
Well, Mel and I have been talking about the way that this fees are crafted, about how we might clean that up a little differently, because all the different departments that are involved in the lease of the land on the water and all that stuff, so it does get a bit convoluted, no doubt. I'd just like to say we're really fortunate to have Shane Rogers being able to pick this up. It was an unfortunate incident with Neil, but Brooks has been around here for 40-some-odd years. And this is a little bit like what we were fortunate enough to have another gentleman step into Chris Gugamas' shoes to carry on a 30-year tradition that's been going on. So again, we're really fortunate to have somebody in our community that can keep this moving forward, because it's a very popular thing for not only the tourists, but the locals too. So, and Shane's here to answer any questions, but it's pretty straightforward. It's just, you know, we decided to do the lease a little bit longer than we had in the past, and just keep it rolling. We're not having to come back all the time. So with that 5-year renewal, it makes it a little easier.
So that really was the only item that changed from the previous lease, and from a
Well, we
3-year term to a 5-year term.
bumped it up a little
term.
bit,
Yeah.
and Shane and I talked about it, and he's okay with that increase in the price point. So there was a change in that. But other than the change in that and the 5-year agreement to be extended to another 5, that was new.
Okay. Shane, is there anything you wanted to add, or does anybody have questions for Shane?
I thank you guys for the opportunity and letting us keep the tradition on.
Well, we appreciate you carrying on the service there, and it's been something that's always been popular in the community and in demand, so we appreciate it very much. Okay?
I just had a question of interest as much as anything else. Is that for one plane or for two?
Yep.
The lease itself, or the business, or on the, I'm trying to understand your question so I can answer it correctly.
Oh,
So historically, there's always been 2 airplanes. At one point in time, I think there was 3 in the 60s.
right.
We're running, we've got the 2 airplanes down there. So we've got the small airplane that's a single seater for the onesies. Typically, it's first thing in the morning, those types of things. The way our lake works is, by the time 10:30 or 11 rolls around on most days, with the boats that we have and the traffic that we have, the little airplane isn't the little airplane that can, just because the waves get too big. The Beach 18, which is down there right now, for anybody that hasn't been down there or heard the story, I encourage all you guys to come down and check it out, because it's got a past of its own. But so that's our primary aircraft. It seats 6 people in that we're able to do, and typically we're running last year, and we got a late start to the year by the time we got everything in place, but we were running 10 to 12 flights a day.
Oh, really?
Wow.
Yeah, 7
Really?
days a week. Yeah.
Wow.
So we were doing over 80 people a day through that. So we did a huge amount of people that came through there. A good portion of them are, as Bill pointed out, local community people returning. It was kind of heartfelt, you know, when you see that and you see the people come back, especially after the tragedy that had happened here. But they just keep coming back. So, but yeah, so typically we run.
When I saw your beach down there, I told all my kids that when they're up here, they're gonna go for a ride in that. I was excited about seeing that at the dock.
Yeah, well, there's 6 of them in the world, so we've got
Well,
a pretty
that's-
special one to have here, and it's
Yeah.
definitely the nicest example.
That's quite a
in the
piece of
world.
history.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
That's fun.
Christie, you had a question?
Just a quick one. What time of, is it mostly summer months, or are you doing some year-round stuff?
We ran as late as we could this season. So as you guys know, as we get into the holiday season, we have a lot of traffic downtown. I mean, it's a lot of tourists come down. our phone rings off the hook year-round. We are on the water right now, but weather has not been cooperative this year. So we wanted to run a little bit later into the season just because we have less boat traffic, and it makes for, when you start getting the snow-capped hills out there that we're flying around, it makes for a great flight. But this year, we just weren't able to go quite as long as we did. We flew for a good stint, but I was hoping to get a little bit closer to Thanksgiving with that early snow. And as you guys all see, we've had that low level kind of just hanging in there. So typically, I would say we're going to be done October, November of flying, maybe a little bit of training. It's because it's a Beech 18 and there's only 4 or 5 airplanes in the world really that you can get a multi-engine seaplane rating. We had a couple people come out, and historically there's been a little bit of training done off that dock since '46, but it's primarily we're done then, and then we're optimistic. I mean, if you'd asked me 2 weeks ago, I'm like, mid-March we're going to be able to fire up, but I look outside today and I don't think that's going to be the case. So probably closer to May realistically of when that's going to be able to kick off. But our phones, we get 7 to 10 calls a day right now of people that want to do flights. If I was down there and started it up, I would have a line of people in an hour. So
It's amazing. Great, thank you.
Outstanding.
It's wonderful.
Thank you, Shane.
thank you
Appreciate
guys.
it. Any other questions or further discussion, or I'll entertain a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Second?
I haven't read it yet. The Parks and Recreation Commission recommends the approval of this lease with Scenic Adventure Flights LLC, DBA Brooks Seaplane Service.
Okay. The motion's been made by Commissioner Tate and seconded by Commissioner Bakes to recommend approval of the lease with Scenic Adventure Flights LLC doing business as Brooks Seaplane Service. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, so Bill, that's, motion is approved unanimously. Now it goes to General Services?
Yeah, it's
or-
Public Works or General Services. I
Public
can't
Works.
remember, keep track of every other one. I don't know if I'll get Christie or I'll get Kiki on which one, but yeah, it'll go there first before it goes to council.
Okay, very good. Okay, next up is Davis Enterprises Agreement Renewal. The decision tonight, should the Parks and Recreation Commission recommend that council approve this 5-year agreement with Davis Enterprises doing business as Live After 5 events for the Live After 5 concerts at McEwen Park. Davis Enterprises, doing business as Live After 5 events, has been operating and producing Live After 5 concerts in McEwen Park since 2017 with great success, and the concerts have all been well received by the community. The concert performances are on Wednesday evening beginning the first week of June through the first Wednesday in September. The city of Coeur d'Alene does not have any financial outlay for the Live After 5 concerts. 30 days prior to the first concert, Davis Enterprises, doing business of Live After 5 events, will pay the Parks and Recreation Department $1,200 for each of 13 concerts for a total of $15,600, together with a $5,000 security deposit for the years 1 through 5. The fee will increase each subsequent year of the contract to account for inflation. The funds received for the concerts go into the park's capital improvements. Attached is the agreement for Live at 5. The agreement spells out the responsibilities and expectations and responsibilities for Live at 5 and the city. With the success of the concerts, the Parks Department is comfortable entering into this updated agreement. Davis Enterprises, doing business as Live After 5 events, will comply with all police and fire department requirements. A decision to point tonight, Parks and Recreation Commission recommendation to City Council to approve this 5-year agreement with Davis Enterprises doing business as Live After 5 events for the Live After 5 concerts at McEwen Park.
Mr. Chair,
Christie?
you know, this is another one of those really great things that have become
ingrained in our community, and certainly Tyler does a first-rate job of hosting these Live After 5 events, and we all the locals, and even some tourists, I suppose, we get to experience this great concert in the park in the summer. So, Bill, I guess my comment to you is, under the financial analysis, it says the city of Coeur d'Alene does not have any financial outlay. That is wonderful to hear, because we struggle with keeping up with our parks and making sure that we can maintain all of these parks. And so I really appreciate that you have negotiated with Live After 5 to make sure that everything we do support is we have the financial means coming back in so that we can keep up all of our parks. So thank you for whatever you have worked out together that makes this amenable to all parties.
Should we make a motion? Or
Be my guest.
so moved.
Is there a second?
Go ahead, Warren.
Second.
Motion's been made by Commissioner Hill and seconded by Commissioner Bakes for the Parks and Recreation Commission recommend to City Council to approve a 5-year agreement with Davis Enterprises doing business at Live After 5 events for the Live After 5 concerts at McEwen Park. Any further discussion?
I was just curious if there have been any problems over the last few years that have been worked out, figured out, police,
Sure, so there's
community.
always problems,
there's always,
and we always solve them.
Yeah.
I mean, so every event we have, we understand there's going to be a little hiccup, a little stumble. We address it, we deal with it, and Tyler and I have had a few of those conversations, but he's been always very amenable to everything that we suggest that we need to change, and there hasn't been a lot of those. So, yeah, Christie took most of my thunder and praise that I was going to talk about what a great event it was, and you're absolutely spot on. It is, and it's become a mainstay on Wednesdays. And so, yeah, every event we have, whether it's the Brew Fest or whether it's even Taste of Coeur d'Alene's, I mean, that's how we always get better. We try this stuff, and if we see that we can do better, we make the course direction, and we change it. So,
If
yeah.
it's predictable, it's preventable.
thank you.
Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion is unanimous, Bill, and again, I guess that goes to Public
Same
Works or
direction, right.
General,
Yep.
General Services. Well, quick meeting, we're kind of coming to the end of it here. Is there any final announcements or comments anybody would like to make?
One thing I forgot to mention in my staff comments was that we've been working with the two companies over at Harbor Center for the docks. Those are coming along nicely. They're going to get some power installed through Avista. I spoke with Avista last week, and they're going to use solar lighting on the docks themselves. They have some lighting up on the top, the gateway that goes down into the dock itself. But they're moving right along, and their intention is to be open on Memorial Day or thereafter. So everything's going along just fine with them, and the docks look nice. Commissioner Bakes looked at those and said they look great. So I think he's a great judge of that, and you guys all could take a look yourself and see what you think.
Yeah, there was a real brief article mentioning the docks in the business section at the press on Sunday.
Yeah, Nils called me, and
Yeah.
we chatted, and actually dropped by and called me both, so, yeah.
So the completion of the docks by Memorial Day, is that just the first set of docks, or is that actually both docks?
They're both shooting for the same. They're using the same contractor. In fact, I utilized that contractor. We had some more pilings upriver from them that were on our repairing rights. And so I pulled the trigger on getting, I think there were 12 or 16 piles that I'm having that company remove. We saved several $1,000s by using him while he's there mobilized. So we saved a little bit on getting those removed. So, yeah, they're both running in tandem with the same contractor. So they're hoping to be both open at that time.
Great, great.
Yeah, I'd just like to say that since I work down on the river at the University of Idaho Center, I've watched it from the beginning to the point where it is right now. If you haven't been down, it's really worth the drive to take a look, because they're top drawer and are going to be a really nice addition for the city. And of course, we all know that they're really needed as well. But my goodness, I think they've done a masterful job. And of course, I'm so old, I remember when there used to be docks down there, and they took what was there and have made it fit perfectly. And gosh, that's going to be a great addition for the community.
Well, I'm old enough too that I removed the last one that was there way back when.
Okay, all right.
I think it's gonna, looks like a great layout, and it's gonna be a great facility, and I'm really hoping it really relieves a lot of the commercial boat launch traffic on our public ramp spaces, so looking forward to it.
You'll have one more area where you'll have the geese sitting on your dock.
Yes.
And the residual that goes along with that.
I don't think we can do like Sandpoint was suggesting, though. I don't think we could pull that off here.
No, I don't think so.
Well, anything else? Then I'll go ahead and make the last announcement, which would be announcing when our next monthly Parks and Recs meeting would be Monday, March 20th, 5:30 PM right here in the community room in the library. With that, I'll entertain a motion for adjournment.
So moved. Second.
Motion's been made by Commissioner Wood and seconded by Commissioner Tate to adjourn. All in favor?
Aye.
Hi.
Thank you, everybody.